Russia's military high command has a new nightmare, and surprisingly, it isn't a stealth bomber, cyber weapon, or space-based laser. It's a compact Swedish anti-drone missile called the Krueger. This isn't the Hollywood nightmare figure Freddy Krueger, but if you ask the Kremlin, the panic feels strangely similar. The Swedish-designed Krueger 100 and its upgraded sibling, the Krueger 100XR, might be small enough to hold in your hands, yet they are powerful enough to disrupt Russia's drone strategy in Ukraine and transform Europe's air defense approach. These systems are not flashy, and they don't rely on massive engines or explosive fireballs. Instead, they quietly promise something far more lethal to Russia: a sustainable, scalable, and low-cost way to shoot down drones at a fraction of the cost of traditional interceptors. A war dominated by drones and data. To understand why the Krueger matters so much, one has to look at the battlefield reality in Ukraine. This war has proven that drones are no longer side tools or experimental accessories. They are now main characters in combat. Both Ukrainian and Russian forces rely on them for everything from frontline surveillance to destroying armored vehicles. Small quadcopters drop grenades into trenches, mid-range drones hunt artillery units, and long-range loitering munitions strike deep inside cities, power stations, and command centers. These machines see everything, strike silently, and operate with speed and scale that traditional defenses struggle to match. Where tanks once dominated the battlefield, now hundreds of flying eyes and airborne kamikazes do. A soldier with a joystick and a backpack-sized drone can destroy a multi-million-dollar armored vehicle. An aerial swarm can bypass trenches that would have stopped infantry. Wars used to be about who had more steel. Now they are about who has more circuit boards, GPS modules, and clever engineering. The Ukrainian battlefield is full of drone categories. Tiny first-person view FPV drones weighing less than 10 pounds, tactical reconnaissance drones lofted by small units, and larger loitering munitions like Russia's Guran 2, which fly hundreds of miles to strike infrastructure. Russia uses drones not only to bomb, but also to locate targets, correct artillery fire, and guide its missile strikes. Without drones, the Russian military would be blind. With them, it becomes lethal. The brutal economics of modern warfare. And here lies the nightmare scenario Ukraine has faced for 2 years. Drones are cheap. Intercepting them is not. A typical FPV attack drone costs as little as a laptop. A loitering munition like the Guran might cost the price of a small car. However, the systems often used to shoot them down cost the equivalent of a luxury apartment. The cost imbalance is absurd. When $1 million missile shoots down a few $100 drone, the defender loses even when they succeed. Russia has embraced that imbalance. Thanks to Chinese supply chains and growing domestic production, Russia manufactures tens of thousands of FPV drones every month. It also receives mountains of fiber optic cable to operate long-range drones immune to traditional jamming. Ukraine, meanwhile, struggles with supply shortages and must carefully ration every interceptor missile. Even the most advanced Ukrainian air defense systems cannot fire endlessly. Patriot missiles, Iris-T interceptors, and NASAMS units are deadly effective, but every trigger pull burns a fortune. NATO leaders understand this and have publicly stated it makes no sense to fire a $500,000 interceptor at a lawnmower engine drone. Yet, until recently, Ukraine faced few alternatives. Russia could simply keep launching drones until Ukraine ran out of missiles to stop them. That is the terrifying logic of attrition in drone warfare, unless you break the math. The arrival of a Swedish equalizer. Enter the Krueger, a missile that attacks the economics of war just as much as it attacks aircraft. Small, battery-powered, and software-guided, this Swedish system was created with one goal: destroy drones cheaply, quickly, and at scale. For less than $5,000 per shot, a Krueger interceptor can knock out drones that cost 10 times more. It does not rely on massive engines or complex explosive warheads. Instead, the base Krueger 100 model simply flies directly into enemy drones like a precision battering ram. The upgraded Krueger 100XR adds a miniature warhead and enhanced sensors, giving it deeper range and improved performance against tougher airborne targets. This simplicity is its strength. With almost no reliance on Chinese components and engineering optimized for fast manufacturing, Sweden has built a weapon perfectly suited for Ukraine's reality. A weapon that can be mass-produced does not fear mass attacks. A weapon that costs almost nothing compared to its targets, wins before a shot is fired. And a system that can adapt through software updates evolves faster than enemies can react. Software warfare from the sky down. The Krueger's defining feature is not its size or its cost. It is its intelligence. Instead of packing bulky optics and expensive mechanical systems, its designers use advanced flight algorithms and sensor fusion to guide the missile through aerodynamic control. Think of it as a digital hunter rather than a mechanical projectile. It sees through thermal cues and infrared tracking, and it can be updated remotely like a smartphone. If Russia develops new jamming tricks or changes drone behavior, Krueger units can be upgraded overnight without ever leaving the field. This is the future of military engineering, where traditional missiles depend on hardwired components. Modern systems like Krueger lean on software brains. Flexibility becomes a weapon. Speed of update becomes a shield. The military that patches faster may very well survive longer. A missile soldiers can carry and use anywhere. The Krueger system brings mobility to air defense. Unlike large anti-air platforms requiring trucks or radar arrays, these mini missiles can be fired from handheld launchers, backpack-mounted systems, or vehicle racks. A squad of infantry can suddenly defend itself against enemy drones without calling in expensive, scarce air defense units. Critical infrastructure like power stations, airports, ports, command centers can be protected by scattered teams, not giant batteries of long-range missiles. For Ukraine, this means life-saving resilience. For European nations near Russia, especially the Baltic states, it means affordable security against drone incursions. For Sweden, it means stepping onto the world stage as a leader in next-generation air defense. Challenges and the road ahead. Of course, no innovation arrives without risks. Electronic warfare remains a concern. Russia will attempt to jam, spoof, or overwhelm these systems. There is always the possibility of battlefield capture and reverse engineering. And ethical questions rise whenever semi-autonomous weapons engage targets, forcing policymakers to consider where human oversight must remain. Yet, Nordic Air Defense designed Krueger with these realities in mind, emphasizing modular sensors, adaptable code, and layered security. The battlefield will reveal how well these precautions hold, but at this moment, early signs suggest the Krueger is not just a gadget, it is a shift in military philosophy, a turning point in warfare. If the Krueger continues proving effective, it may mark the beginning of a new era, one where expensive air defense systems still matter, but where they share the sky with agile software-driven interceptors. One where Europe builds weapons resilient to Chinese export pressure and independent from American bottlenecks. One where Ukraine's defense becomes cost-efficient instead of draining its arsenal like water through fingers. Russia bet heavily on drone swarms. Sweden has quietly introduced a weapon designed to break that bet. And in doing so, it has given Ukraine and Europe a tool that changes not only battlefield physics, but battlefield economics. In war, sometimes victory belongs to the one who spends smarter, not the one who spends bigger. The battlefield is changing faster than ever, and today's small ideas are tomorrow's strategic breakthroughs. If weapons like the Swedish Krueger can flip the balance of modern warfare, imagine what comes next. Thank you for watching. If you found this breakdown insightful and want to stay ahead of the curve on global defense technology, drone warfare updates, and military innovation, make sure to hit the like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications. Stay informed, stay curious, and I'll see you in the next video. Is this conversation helpful so far?